61, Connecticut's news station, starts with a weather impact alert.
Good morning to you. 6 o'clock on this Thursday. Thank you for joining us here on Fox 61 and Fox 61 Plus. I'm Symphony Privet.
And I'm Tim Lammers. Good morning. This morning, as we get over to meteorologist Matt Scott, a good example why there's a difference between getting better and all better. It's warmer. It is not warm.
It's all subjective, isn't it? Yes, we're not exactly talking about balmy conditions out there. However, it was a little better outside my garage this morning than it's been the last couple mornings. We've definitely turned a corner. It's still got a long way to go before we get back to normal. But this morning we're talking about wind chills. Here's your headline. The word is, that's called above, as in above zero. 5 to 15 is what the real feel is going to give you. Still cold, still looking for warming centers, still need to know 211. That's your friend. All right. Satellite radar picture is showing just a little bit of, well, it looks like a couple of snowflakes that are holding together as they move over into New Milford to going a little closer by Candlewood Lake, moving into Washington along 202. The rest of this is really marginable at worst, and there really isn't anything in terms of precip coming. Not today, not in the weekend forecast, not anytime soon. So we continue to focus on the cold. 10 in Hartford, 17 in New Haven and Bridgeport, 12 in Groton. Your winds are largely calm right now. So what you see is what you feel on the thermometer. Down to 3 in Willimantic, but again up to that 17 on the shore. Dress for 15 to 20. On any day, I would say, my gosh, dress for 15 to 20. Today, we're saying dress for 15 to 20 because it's the warmest that we have seen since Monday. Temperatures getting near freezing, not quite there, around 30, 31. So just about there, not quite up to normal. But we are definitely getting a little better. We'll show you that in the 7-day coming up. See if we can find any storms as well. See if we can find any trouble on the roads. The woman looking for it, hopefully not finding it, is Rachel Piscatelli. Good morning.
Hey, good morning, Matt. Following a crash over in Hartford this morning on 91, just out by exit 29 or so. It does look like a couple of lanes are blocked at the moment because of that. This is going to be on that southbound side out by exits 29A and 29B where I-84 meets. You can see right now we have 2 lanes, but it looks like it's kind of hard to see with obviously no sunlight, but we do have emergency crews that are on scene this morning, so give yourself some extra time, although we know that volume is light in the hour, or in this hour. So New Haven to Hartford is 35 minutes, southbound 91, Hartford to New Haven still looking at a 34-minute drive. Tim and Symphony.
Rachel, thank you. 6:02 now. Happening this morning, the chaos at the state capitol over pricey electric bills continues.
Yeah, we've learned the unions for utility workers will meet with state leaders to discuss the impacts of current regulations. Fox 61's Lindsay Kane is live in Hartford with the details. Lindsay.
Hi, good morning. Well, there's certainly been a lot of talk about energy over the last week, and this morning the union presidents for frontline utility workers are expected to meet with state leaders to talk more about how the current energy market impacts those frontline workers. Now, this comes after Republicans just yesterday unveiled a 6-point plan to help bring the cost of energy down for customers across the state. Democrats spoke about that issue last week, but did not give concrete ideas. Now, Republicans want regulators and the utility companies to remove the public benefits charges from electric bills and to instead cover any of those costs in the state budget. They also want to cap how much energy can be purchased to keep costs lower. GOP lawmakers also said you can get more energy relatively clean and cheaper with other options instead of offshore wind.
There are other forms of clean energy. Not just natural gas. We have waste to energy that the state of Connecticut has, attempted to eliminate. When you look at what Europe has in their technology, there are zero-emission waste to energy plants. We should be looking at that as an alternative. But those all have been taken off the table, and that is part of the fundamental problem.
Leaders also talked about ending electric vehicle rebate programs that stand against any state incentive program that increases electric demand. Now, Republicans say Democrats are just simply out of ideas, and they urge them to adopt these policies in this plan as quickly as possible in order to ensure affordability across the state. Live in Hartford this morning, Lindsay Kane, Fox 61.
Lindsay, thank you for that report. We appreciate it.
6:04 now. Officers in Waterberry are searching for 2 suspects wanted in separate homicide cases. Fox 61's Kay Pattyfoot spoke with the mayor about the search.
Waterberry police are actively investigating 2 homicides, one that took place last May and one that marked the first homicide of 2025 on January 11th. On Saturday, January 11th at 2 a.m., police responded to West Main Street to a report of an assault with a weapon. Police say 2 men were stabbed and 1 died at the hospital. We are now learning that man who died at the hospital was 27-year-old Marquez Ebron. Waterbury police say Garrett Piper is wanted in connection to Ebron's death and is charged with murder, assault in the 3rd degree, carrying a deadly weapon, and more. Waterbury Mayor Paul Penarewski said this marked the city's first homicide in 2025.
It was the result of an altercation in a bar downtown Waterbury between people that we believe knew each other at the time. They got into a physical altercation that ended up involving a knife fight. 2 people were stabbed, and one of them, the victim, has passed away.
This isn't the only active homicide case in the city. Police are still looking for Courtney Franklin, who was accused in a deadly shooting back in May. Police say 3 people were shot outside the Soblunique party venue on Sharon Road. One of those victims, Shaquille Morris, died at the hospital. Waterbury Mayor Penarewski said the homicide that took place on January 11th was an isolated incident and the community is not in danger. If you have any information on either cases, you're encouraged to call the police and can do so anonymously. In Waterbury, Kay Pattyfoot, Fox 61.
Kay, thank you. Officers said a 12-year-old boy is recovering after being shot in Hartford. Police said they found him shortly after getting to the intersection of Capitol Avenue and Park Terrace. This was around 7:15 last night. Now, they did say the boy had more than 1 gunshot wound, but he is expected to survive. Police said they're still trying to figure out who shot him and why. In Avon, police said a woman was found dead after her apartment caught fire. Crews responded to the complex on Avonwood Road a little before 4 p.m. yesterday. They did say the fire spread to other apartments, but they think it started at the victim's unit. No one else was hurt, and most of the people who lived in the complex were allowed to return home.
A 3-year-old girl is back home this morning after a car she was in was stolen. Police say this happened in Stratford at a gas station near Barnum and Boston Avenues just before 3 yesterday afternoon. A short time later, the toddler was dropped off at a nearby fire station. Officers were able to track down the stolen vehicle on Route 8 and arrested a 13-year-old and a 17-year-old. Both teens face multiple charges. And a man will face charges for a deadly boat crash at the mouth of the Connecticut River in Old Saybrook. This happened back on September 2nd last year. 3 people died and 6 others were hurt. 26-year-old Clayton Hackling faces several charges, including 3 counts of second-degree manslaughter. Officers say he was driving the boat while under the influence when he crashed and the boat sank. Officers have arrested a man more than a year after the death of Shaquille Chaz Pearson. This is in New Haven. Police say Joseph Dominic shot and killed Pearson in November of 2023. Officers quickly found a vehicle involved in the incident, but they weren't able to make an arrest until last week. Pearson's mother spoke up yesterday to thank the officers who worked on the case.
What I'm going through right now is the hardest thing a mother could ever go through. And I used to see it on TV, other mothers losing their kids to gunshots and stuff, and I couldn't imagine until it hit home.
Dominic now faces multiple charges. He is being held on a $2 million bond.
7 police officers in San Antonio, Texas were shot after responding to a call at an apartment complex. Now, as of this morning, we know that at least 4 of the officers are expected to survive. We just don't know how bad the other 3 officers' injuries are. Our sister station in San Antonio reported that the suspected shooter was holed up in an apartment for several hours and that SWAT officers later found him dead. We don't know why at this point or what the motive was behind the shooting. Police said a 17-year-old in Antioch, Tennessee, that's a neighborhood outside of Nashville, wound up shooting 2 classmates, killing one of them inside their high school cafeteria. Police said the shooter then died by suicide. Now, it happened yesterday at Antioch High School. Police identified the victim as 16-year-old Jocelyn Correa Escalante. Investigators said they're still trying to figure out the motive for the shooting. At this point, they don't even know if Jocelyn knew her killer. The other student, by the way, is expected to survive. One parent told news crews that she is not shocked about what happened.
But I mean, I'm not surprised that this has happened because the bullying here is just it's so crazy, and they overlook it.
2 school resource officers were in the school at the time of the shooting. They just were not near where the shooting happened. The fraud trial for Steve Bannon in New York has been delayed until March 4th. It's the second time it's been pushed back. The judge approved the delay after Bannon appeared in court to talk about why he hired new lawyers. The Republican strategist has been accused of conspiring to dupe people who thought they were donating money to build a border wall. Bannon has pleaded not guilty to all the charges against him.